Het Anker Gouden Carolus Classic.
Life is too short to be drinking shitty beer.
Welcome to another edition of Bands, Bikes and Booze Reviews. One from Belgium here today, and this is the Gouden Carolus Classic. Now this is quite a special beer. It has been voted best dark beer in the world. Now that is some claim. I'm assuming they mean best Belgian dark beer, but it's got a very good reputation and it comes from a very good brewery. This is from the Het Anker Brewery, and they're based in a place called Mechelen, which is in Belgium obviously, but it's in the region of Antwerp, which is the Flemish speaking part of Belgium. And they do some good beers, as I say. If you look on the channel, there is quite a few Gouden Carolus beers, and they've all been good. I think I've tried their triple and their blonde, and the blonde is pretty hefty, and it was really nice. I was very impressed, and I keep getting Alkmaars. This is what happens when you get old. I keep getting Alkmaars, which is a really terrible brewery in my opinion, a Belgian brewery, and Het Anker mixed up. And when I see Het Anker, I'm thinking, oh Christ, they're terrible, but they're not. They're really good. Alkmaars are the equivalent of, if you can imagine, a bad Marston's. That's what they're like, and I get them mixed up for some reason, and I think that's what's put me off buying a lot of Het Anker beer. But it shouldn't do, because when I do realise that I'm being a silly old bastard, I buy some of this stuff and it's usually pretty good. And I saw some of this, I didn't make a mistake, and I've been trying to get hold of this for a long time, and it's quite hard to get hold of here, but I managed to get hold of it from the House of Trembling Madness, based up in People's Republic of Yorkshire, and I immediately jumped on it before it sold out, because this, as I say, is quite hard to get hold of. I've read about it and I've looked on their website and the claims that they're making about it, and I thought, well, I've got to try this. Finally, I have got some. Now, as I say, it's won awards. It's won 4 World Beer Awards, and one of them World Beer Awards was Best Dark Beer in the world. I'm not sure what year that was, but that's no mean feat when you consider that that's been put up against a lot of German dark beers, Doppelbocks, Dunkels, etc., and British dark beers as well. So yeah, hats off to them. That's no mean feat. And they've also won a couple of other, I think they've won an Australian Beer Award as well. But they're obviously doing something right, and I can see why they have won these awards, because, as I say, I've tried the triple, and I've tried I think I've tried the Christmas beer as well, and that was good, and also the blondes as well. And yeah, absolutely no complaints whatsoever. If you want to look at them reviews, just do a search on the channel, and yeah, they're just a good brewery. Been going since 1871. So with that in mind, let's investigate the beer. Right, 300ml bottle, 8.5%. I have got to be very wary of this and not to neck it. Now, I'm just looking at all the ingredients. They're all in Flemish. It just says that it contains barley and wheat. Yeah, thanks for that. I'd sort of gathered that if it was a beer. But yeah, there's nothing in there that gives me any indication of the ingredients. It's just, yeah, it contains barley and wheat. So it doesn't really say, oh, hang on, in German, Zucker. So that'd be sugar. Weizenmalz, that is wheat. Hefe, yeast. Hopfen, which is hops. Und Wasser. Nice. And what else is that? Zutertin, I don't even know what that is. I should learn to speak German. I'll do that when I've got a spare lifetime. It's 8.5%. So, as I said, I've got to take this easy, 330ml bottle, and the IBUs in it are 16, which is really low for this style of beer. Normally they're a little bit higher, but brown ales do tend to be sweet, but they're normally sort of, I'd say about early 20s, something like that. But if that's what they're saying, that's what it is. Let's get it open and let's see what's going on. Right, I have got to be careful with this stuff because I know what happens when I try and do this, because in the past, this has just fizzed up on me and it's been an absolute nightmare. The place has been covered, and Belgian beer is especially bad because it contains all that sugar and it gets really sticky really quickly. So I'm going to get the cap off and I'm going to try and get it in the glass ASAP. Right, here we go. And it hasn't frothed up, just to prove me a liar. There you go. Now obviously this has had a bottle fermentation because it contains the sugar. It's been lagered for 3 weeks, so it's had 2 fermentations, one in the bottle, one going through the lagering process. Oh, you can smell that from here. Just immediately big dark fruit and caramel malt. Oh, that's huge. The aromas are huge. Oh, it's really good. A little touch of ethanol on there, not surprising considering it's 8.5%. Smells really nice. Yeah, big candy sugar, big caramel malt, lots of fruit. Again, putting me in mind of a German Doppelbock as opposed to any other country's Doppelbock. Yeah, you've got that big dark fruit aroma like dates, figs, plum, etc. Damson. It's really nice. It does smell good. There it is in the glass. The head is dissipating at a rate of knots, not surprising. There is the cap, crossed anchors. Right, before this head dissipates, which it will, let's get it down the hatch. Bottoms up. Oh, really big ethanol. Huge ethanol. To the point where it tastes, you can taste the chemical element in it. Now, I've don't know what order the videos are going to go out in, but I've been really ill last week. I had a cold. I had the cold from hell. Then I had the COVID jab, and it really knocked me for 6. I didn't have a beer for a week. So this is my first Belgian beer in about 2 weeks now. I could be misinterpreting this because I haven't tried Belgian beer in a while, but let's dive in again. There's a bitterness on that, on the finish. And this is what separates it from the German Doppelbock. The German Doppelbock will give you a nice, sweet, malty finish. This gives you ethanol, warming, but it also gives you a little element of sweetness, but there is quite a large amount of bitterness that's coming, what I can gather, coming from the hops. And that does linger, but it's still nice. I really do like this. And Belgian brown ale, I would say, is one of probably my favourite style of Belgian beer. Now don't get me wrong, they do some great beers. Their triples and their blondes are fantastic, and the doubles as well. The doubles and the browns, or the bruins as they like to call them, sometimes it's hard to distinguish between the two, but most of the time, and there are exceptions, but most of the time I've tried a Belgian brown ale. It's been really nice. That's quite nice, very malty, but there is that bitterness on the finish. That's what distinguishes it, is the lovely hop bitterness. I think that's hop bitterness in there. That's what I'm getting. Possibly a combination of roasted malt as well, but it's nice. There is the candy sugar, I am getting that, and that balances it out quite nicely. But, oh, and the aromas again, getting different aromas now. Lovely, big, fruity type aromas. And that candy sugar as well, that really does come through on this. And I wouldn't say it's an artificial type sugar, but it adds a sweetness to the malt that I really like. It's uniquely Belgian. You don't really get this on any other style of beer. Possibly a barley wine. If you try a good quality barley wine, you do get that. Obviously the English use invert sugar, which you could argue is very similar to candy sugar. There's a different process that the Belgians use. They use caramelised beet sugar. The English normally use invert cane sugar. So there's subtle differences. I don't think they caramelise it, and it goes through a chemical process which is slightly different, but it does give it its nice sweetness. And I will say about these Belgian beers, especially the brown ales, they're not for everyone. Some people may not like that, may perceive that sweetness as a syrupy type alcohol, and it's not. Sometimes when you drink that cheap super strong lager, you get a lot of glucose, or you get some type of sugar added to it, and it really isn't nice because it's poor quality ingredients. The trouble is, a lot of novices, I'm not saying I'm a professional or an expert by any stretch of the imagination, but a lot of people who are not used to this style will drink this and they will think that it's an alcohol syrupy type flavour, when it technically isn't. It's, yes, there is alcohol in there, there is ethanol, and there is that sugar, but you can taste the quality in this, put it that way. But the ethanol really does come across, and I'm not sure whether that's because I haven't had a beer in 2 weeks, or it's genuinely high on the ethanol stakes. Now they've said the IBUs on this are 16. I don't know, that I am getting a bit of finish on this, and I would have said it would have been a lot higher. Certainly some of the German Doppelbocks are about 16, but you do get a sweet malty finish, no trace of ethanol on them. This, yeah, it's got it. And I'm gulping this at a rate of knots, and I really should calm down, because this is not one of them sort of beers. I always make this mistake, and I really shouldn't. So what's the verdict on Gouden Carolus? That is really nice, and a testament to its nice flavour is the fact that I have gulped that down at a rate of knots and thoroughly enjoyed it. As Belgian brown ales go, I'm going to give it an 8.5. I was toying with the idea of giving it a 9, but I genuinely think there are better Belgian brown ales out there. This certainly is a worthy one, and I can see why it's won a World Beer Award, because it really is a nice one. But I think there's better out there. For example, Anker Trappist beer is one of the best brown ales, Belgian brown ales that I've tasted. That was absolutely fantastic, and that's one of the beers that I hold up in high esteem and measure everything else against. And a surprising one, I'm not sure whether you can see the logo on this, it's been washed off now, but the Steenbrugger brown ale was really nice, and that is a cheaper style brand, if you like, or an economy, I would say. Would it be? It's one of them brand names that a brewery has, and they do a range of beers, and Steenbrugger is one of them. But I was really impressed with their brown ale, surprisingly so. And I should probably revisit this, because, you know, as I say, I haven't drank a beer in 2 weeks, and this is probably, it tastes very extreme. Whereas if my palate had been used to it, then I probably would have wouldn't have balked at some of the extreme bitterness on there. Not extreme bitterness, but the extra bitter flavours and the big ethanol. But it's still nice. Even then, you know, I would probably be drinking 2 or 3 glasses of this and I'll be back in my stride again. And then not back in my stride after I'd got up and fall over after drinking or gulping down an 8.5% beer. But I really like it, and the ABV is going to reflect the mark. It's going to be 8.5 or 8.5 from me, and I definitely recommend it. I'll tell you exactly how much it cost me. I have the price list here. I've got so many fucking price lists. I should throw these out because they go way back. Where are we now? Let me have a look. Gouden Carolus, $3.65. Yeah, you've got to weigh up whether you want to pay that or not for a 330ml bowl. I think it's worth it personally. If you like your Belgian beer, definitely. If you like more quantity, but you don't want to compromise on quality, get a German Doppelbock. It won't taste the same, but it'll be a nice dark beer, and you'll get 500 millilitres as opposed to 330. But this is still nice, so it's going to get an 8.5 from me, and it's going to be recommended. And remember, beer is working class champagne.